No, bitches be like, you ain't no. Met this fly Latino. Hope that she 18, no. Is she not? I say that I got deep throat in.
Over time, Greek life has become more and more popular throughout college campuses. Many psychologists have been wondering why. Let's find out. Fraternities and sororities are social organizations at colleges and universities. While individual fraternities and sororities vary in exact organization and purpose, they all share things in common. Greek life at colleges and universities engage in philanthropy events, often host parties and other events that place them at the social epicenter of life on campus. Greek life provides students with a network of peers who will know them by name. Greek organizations help build network for students that prove beneficial when looking for internships, employment, recommendations, and employees. Perhaps the best hidden aspect of Greek life is Greek organizations, which often instill a culture of service and philanthropy. However, involvement varies from organization to organization and chapter to chapter. Still, most chapters find involvement in some sort of community service project, and many chapters have leadership positions dedicated to this aspect of Greek life. What do 85% of the executives of Fortune 500 companies and 80% of United States presidents since 1900s have in common? They all were members of Greek organizations during college. Fraternities and sorority memberships teach members valuable social skills.
There is more to Greek life than just having a group of sisters or brothers and participating in philanthropy events. Greek life has its own culture, which is enduring behaviors, ideas, attitudes, values, and traditions shared by a group of people. Within Greek life culture, there are norms. Norms are an understood rule for accepted and expected behavior. Norms prescribe proper behavior. There's actually a lot of psychology behind Greek life and why people join it. When joining Greek life, prospective members are emerging adulthood, which is a period from late teens to mid-20s, bridging the gap between adolescence dependence and full independence and responsible adulthood. A reason for people joining Greek life could be because they are in the identity versus role confusion stage, according to Erickson's theory on development. In this stage, teenagers work at refining a sense of self by testing roles and then integrating them to form a single identity, or they become confused about who they are. Going off to college can be scary, and oftentimes people feel alone and in need of friends. Greek life is known for creating lifelong friends, and this could be why many people are so eager to rush a fraternity or sorority their first semester on campus. When put in a new place where no one knows who you are, people try to create their own identity and social identity. An identity is our sense of self, and our social identity is the we aspect of our self-concept. Greek life can also be related to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's pyramid of human needs, beginning at the base with physiological needs that first must be satisfied before higher-level safety needs, and then psychological needs become active. After college students satisfy physiological needs, such as thirst and hunger, they must meet their safety needs, the need to feel that the world is organized and protectable, and then they try to meet their belongingness and love needs, which is the need to love and be loved. Greek life helps fill that need of love and belongingness. Although Greek life can be full of hazing and other societal pressures, people see brotherhood or sisterhood as an incentive to push through all the pressures. A problem that arises with Greek life is conformity. Conformity is adjusting our behavior or thinking to coincide with a group standard. Greek life creates normative social influence, which is the influence resulting from a person's desire to gain approval or avoid.
A large aspect of Greek life is the concept of fitting in and feeling like you're part of a community. When men and women join fraternities and sororities, they face so many pressures to be a part of these communities, and they don't realize how damaging it is to their psychological health. For women, the pressure they face when they're joining a sorority usually is based on appearance. To appear a certain way, have a certain body type, and to be beautiful is a huge pressure that they face when being accepted. In a study done at Lafayette College, women had a 20% increased rate of developing an eating disorder such as anorexia or bulimia if they were to join a sorority, as opposed to young women in college who weren't a part of a sorority. Men also face huge pressures when applying to fraternities. These pressures usually include partying, drinking large amounts of alcohol, and experimenting with drugs. Though these pressures are very different from women when they're in sororities, it's still extreme. Besides pressures on appearing a certain way for women or pressures to party like men, if you aren't fully on board with the social aspect of Greek life, you're not going to fit in. And the pressure to not fit in and not be a part of this community is really detrimental.
Hi Nick, thank you for agreeing to talk with me. First, I'd like to know what fraternity you're in.
Tau Kappa Epsilon,
At what school?
University of Tennessee.
Okay. And why did you join that fraternity?
See, there's a lot of reasons, but the biggest one is because dorm drinking sucks.
Okay, and did those brothers ever haze you?
Oh yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that hazing.
Well, it started with the first night where we got blindfolded, brought to a basement. We got completely yelled at and told we had to finish a keg in 45 minutes. We didn't end up finishing it because we had to learn a bunch of stuff about each other. Semester went on, and we continuously had these lineups every week where we just got yelled at for the stupidest stuff. And long story short, it ended with the last night, which is where we got blindfolded and brought into a car, went deep in Rhode Island, went in the woods, which is crazy. We had to run around the woods chasing each other, running through prickly bushes and getting cut up, and just brothers throwing rocks at you. It was horrible.
Oh my god.
Then I got paddled and got initiated, so it was all worth it.
It was worth it.
Oh yeah.
And did you ever not forgive your brothers for everything that they did to you?
There was a few brothers during pledging that I hated, but after you get in, you realize that it's all a joke.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about the emotions that you felt being hazed?
I was always pretty confident considering I rushed as a sophomore since I just transferred there. A lot of my pledge bros always talk about dropping, but I was always pretty cool with it.
So you never thought about dropping?
Towards the end, the last few days, like Hell Week, I wanted it, but I knew it was going to be worth it, so I stayed.
And what's it like being Greek life now that you're initiated?
Oh, it feels good. No more dorm training, I'll tell you that.
Well, that's good. Thanks for telling us a little bit about Greek life.
Hi, my name is Julia Ridgway. I go to Michigan State University and I'm in Kappa Delta sorority. I joined my sorority, or a sorority, because obviously Michigan State has like 38,000 undergrad and then 50,000 with graduate, and like the school itself is just enormous. And when I got there, I kind of felt like a little intimidated by how big it was. Like I literally knew no one, and it seemed like somehow everyone already knew each other because there's a lot of in-state people. So I joined a sorority to make like the big school feel a lot smaller, which actually like definitely helped a lot. I assumed that Greek life would be very like pretentious and like almost like superficial, like not saying that I'm that in any way. It's just like I didn't really know what to expect going into the whole process, and just like from what I see in like TV and movies, like it looks like the people in Greek life always like look down on people that aren't in Greek life and all this kind of stuff. But that's completely inaccurate. Actually, like when I rushed, I realized that everyone is normal and they're the same as everyone else. And like obviously there are some that think they're like above others, and like that's fine, but they're not all that way, which is nice. Yeah, I mean, I have like positions within it, and I think that is definitely good. I have fun. The truck's loud. Yeah, I mean, I did it more for like the social aspect, honestly. And it's completely satisfying all my desires. Okay. Positives and negatives when it comes to like Greek life on college campuses. Positives are definitely that it gives you like a smaller community where you actually like know people, and you know people from other houses, and it just kind of gives you like a smaller community within such a large one, and that's definitely a positive. And like I know this sounds stupid, but it really does like give you friends forever. Let's see. A negative would probably be the fact. Sorry, I feel bad because all the trucks. A negative would probably be. It's on like the tip of my tongue. What was I gonna say? Just the fact that like I feel like a lot of people don't have that aren't in Greek life have bad like images of what we are and what we do, but at the same time I think they don't see it, like obviously they don't really see it from our perspective, which is like they don't see all the good things that we do, like so many philanthropy events, like we always have to be like peace, which is like just like presenting yourself well and like engaging in your world around you, and like making sure you're like really academic and stuff. Like it just makes sure we're all very well rounded, and I feel like that's like what a lot of people don't see that like aren't in Greek life. I feel like they're all like, oh, like all they care about is partying and stuff, but like that's not true at all. So that's definitely a negative. I just feel like how other people view us is kind of skewed. I think it depends. Like, it says our society's negative views on Greek life oftentimes true. I wouldn't say often. I would say like sometimes. Obviously there's things that like happen and that are bad. I feel like mistakes happen. I don't know. Like things can go wrong, but that can happen to anyone else as well. And I just think it shouldn't, if like one chapter makes a mistake, I don't think it should reflect on Greek life as a whole, because not every house has the intentions of the other houses. So it says, is there anything you wish changed about societal pressures in Greek life? Definitely, I think about I don't know how to say, it's like the way we represent ourselves, like, yeah, we want to present ourselves in a good way, but at the same time, like, I feel like, at least my sorority promotes confidence, and it's like, oh, like, be comfortable in your own skin, whatever, but then, like, if they see me without makeup, they're like, oh, you're like, you shouldn't wear your letters without makeup, or like, if your hair isn't done, and I'm like, if you want me to be confident, like, why can't I walk around without makeup? Like, I don't know, I just feel like they have so many, like, unspoken pressures, like, and if you don't, like, abide by those, like, societal, like, rules, kind of, you just kind of are, like, looked down upon, which is kind of, like, unfair, completely. Pressure, I feel like, or at least this is my point of view on it, like, I know there's, like, upper houses that think they are amazing, and, basically, I feel like it depends on the person. Like, I personally just want to have fun and hang out with my friends, so I personally don't try to compete. Like, I'll hang out with anyone. Like, I'm not like, oh, I'm better than you, or like, I'm worse than you. Like, I don't know, I just think we should all be friends, but I feel like that it really depends on who is answering the question, because I know, like, other houses might feel other ways about that question. And, yeah, about that, so that was about social status part of it, and then it says appearance, like, and I definitely think, like, at some points, like, guys would be like, oh, like, you're in that house, like, oh, like, and I feel like even if, okay, this is gonna sound so bad, but, like, even if someone's, like, not cute, but they're in, like, a really good house, like, the guy will just think she's, like, so much more attractive, even if she's, like, not cute at all, like, just because it has, like, that, like, name attached to her. I think that's stupid, but whatever, I guess. I've never felt pressured to do anything I didn't want to do. I feel like a lot of people think that there would be a lot more peer pressure, and they're like, oh, like, I feel like everyone, like, gets the image that, like, the guys just, like, want to take advantage of all the girls, but, like, and that's what I was expecting, because, like, everyone's, like, filling my mind with that, but then, like, when I got to school, like, everyone is so, like, relaxed and normal, like, they're not trying to, like, attack you or anything, they just want to talk to you and have fun. Like, I've never felt, like, pressured or, like, to do anything at all. If anything, I feel like it's able to, like, laugh it off as, like, a joke. Like, even if someone did say something, you're kind of like, why'd they say that? You just be like, haha, and, like, walk away, and nothing happens. Like, they walk away too. But yeah, and I personally cannot relate to this, because I am always myself, and I don't like when people tell me to not be myself. So if my sorority asked me to change myself, I would have probably dropped them, because as you can tell, I don't even listen to the no makeup rule or anything. I'm just me, and if they don't like that, then sorry. And do you think that people have struggled with, yeah, okay, people definitely struggle with anxiety or depression because of, like, some stuff. Like, I personally don't know what it's like, but I definitely think if you're in, like, a sorority that is seen as, like, higher, like, has, like, a certain, like, image to uphold, like, that those girls would be more likely to be like this, because they feel pressured to be, like, this perfect little Barbie doll that they don't actually have to be, but feel like they have to be. Okay. Okay, not in mine. I just don't care, and I don't think they would ever say anything to anyone. I feel like mine is very like accepting of like how people are, and I know the place that I prepped at, they have like the gym in the house. Like prepping means like it was between the one I'm in and that one, and basically I just chose the other one. But the other one had like a gym in the house, and you could tell that like everyone was so focused on like how skinny they were, and I was like, okay, like food's awesome. There's more things in life than being really skinny, and I just want to have fun, not being like analyzing myself in the mirror every minute of the day. So yeah, I've never really been affected by that. So never.
Roughly, there are 750,000 current fraternity and sorority members that belong to an undergraduate chapter on college campuses around the nation. Although people join their university chapters for different reasons, there has been a significant impact on students who are members of Greek organizations on college campuses.
Greek organizations have widely impacted students based on the pressures that come with being a sorority or fraternity member. Jenny Shokin, a law student at the University of Chicago, believes that the compulsion to join Greek life is rather strong. A great deal of stress, which is the process by which we perceive and respond to certain events, called stressors, that we appraise as threatening or challenging, corresponds with the level of how frequently people join Greek life to survive socially.
Without Greek life, several students may feel that they would be socially irrelevant and excluded from much of the college experience. For the most part, students believe that when they attend a large school that is Greek-dominated, they will not have the ability to make friends if they are not involved in the Greek community. Shulkin quotes that joining a sorority is less about sisterhood for the sake of sisterhood and more about sisterhood for the sake of being with the brotherhood. Females have evidently felt pressured into joining a Greek organization in high hopes of receiving benefits and flourishing socially.
Being involved with Greek life can either be for better or for worse, but it is clear that anorexic females are just as common as men with beer bellies. There is no coincidence that some sorority chapters are at the top of the social hierarchy, as they are the ones that idolize perfection. It has been noted that sorority females have embodied society's thin ideal and perfect image, to the point where it has harmed them both physically and mentally.
Some individuals affiliated with Greek life have suffered from anorexia nervosa, which is an eating disorder in which a person maintains a starvation diet despite being significantly underweight, as well as bulimia nervosa, where a person alternates binge eating with purging, excessive exercising, or fasting.
Alexandra Robbins, a Yale alumni and the author of Pledge the Secret Life of Sororities, quoted that it's difficult for sororities to move forward when some influential adults' warped values are holding them back. She continues by stating that they can be as progressive as they want, but at the end of the day, nationals can say you still have to wear makeup or look a certain way, and subsequently this has become a significant issue in today's society. In this case, Greek members have suffered from anxiety disorders, which is a psychological disorder characterized by distressing, persistent anxiety or maladaptive behaviors, as well as a major depressive disorders, where students have continuous ongoing feelings of depression and a loss of interest or pleasure as a result of the pressures that are still in effect today.
Alcohol is very prevalent within Greek life. Members of both fraternities and sororities are at a higher risk for binge drinking and drug use than the rest of the college population. A Harvard study found that 4 out of the 5 fraternity and sorority members are binge drinkers. In comparison, other research suggests 2 out of 5 college students overall are regular binge drinkers. Binge drinking contributes to some of the highest rates of accidents, sexual assaults, emergency room visits, and deaths on college campuses. It isn't just the drinkers facing the consequences either. Approximately 83% of Greek housing residents report having suffered as a result of their brothers' and sisters' alcohol consumption. Virtually every study of drinking in college shows fraternity members tend to drink more heavily and more frequently, and to have more alcohol-related problems than their fellow students. Alcohol is all throughout the Greek system, and alcohol causes many of the cases of peer pressure within Greek life.
Are quite significant, and not everybody gets in, so students that are rushing for Greek life, they're willing to do extreme things, and not knowing the dangers of drinking and alcohol poisoning. That's where there's definitely a fine line of the university getting into a lot of trouble for alcohol poisoning, deaths, and they really have been forced to change or at least try to make it a safer climate. And they're trying now, every university has freshman college classes that are mandated. It's called freshman year experience, and a lot of the curriculum has to do with personal responsibility and teaching them navigation tools, similar to what we do with our senior curriculum here at Fairfield Ward. What's your take? I mean, you want to talk about some of the statistics linked?
Yeah, going along the lines of the alcohol poisoning, statistically, students are 3 times more likely to do something that they regret. And as far as injury, there's a lot of alcohol-related injuries, along with deaths per year.
Process, definitely much more drinking for Greek people. That sounds weird, but they're the ones that have the parties and the rest of the campus attends. So the culture is all there, and there's definitely a promotion of excessive and extreme drinking. Big problem on college campuses is the hard liquor consumption. They are banned from drinking on a college campus, so to conceal it, it's easy to conceal vodka in a water bottle, but a person's gonna drink and die if they consume that. It's not like a cup of beer at a keg party where people aren't being admitted to the hospital if they are slowly drinking beers in a responsible manner, but it's the shot for shot, the 21 shots on a birthday that really, that's what's killing our college kids.
There's a lot of psychological head games, a lot of humiliation, but people are willing to go through with what's being asked of them to be a part of the sorority or fraternity. And you know, it's what is it? I'm jumping.
Well, what about, we were just talking about the fact the number one reason for freshmen to not make it to their sophomore year is alcohol abuse. And I worked on a college campus for 13 semesters, and this is something that I worked with students individually. A lot of my office hours had a lot to do with regrettable choices, being under the influence. I worked with students and got them help for sexual assault, sexually transmitted infection. I mean, the transmission, it's just your moral compass is just not working, and having that natural instinct ability, that's the first thing to go. So if somebody's in danger, or if your friend's in danger, you don't have that uh-oh ability in your brain, even in small amounts. So you do see car accidents, and really, sadly, just not being able, and for fraternity, you have to maintain a certain GPA. And when you're not, you're kicked out. There's, you know, or you're on probation, academic probation.
Though there are a lot of positive aspects of Greek life, one does have to take into consideration the darker side of it. The immense pressure to feel like you're fitting in and part of a community is natural human nature, and when people get to college, it's a major aspect of why they want to join Greek life. With Greek life comes hazing and extreme pressures that can really cause psychological damage. Another huge pressure that people face when joining Greek life is that of hazing. Hazing is a serious problem, and as Webster Dictionary defines it, it's strenuous or humiliating actions and activities that are part of a program of initiation. People often take hazing very lightly, when yet over 75% of people who are in Greek life and who have experienced hazing report it as a physically and emotionally abusing experience. For the past 40 years, there's been at least one hazing-related death in Greek life every single year at college. Over 82% of these deaths are alcohol-related. Either drunk driving accident, some incident while being intoxicated, or alcohol poisoning are all causes.
Death of a college freshman. Michael Dang died 2 years ago after a brutal beating from his frat brothers. Now 37 people face charges, including 5 young men for murder. ABC's Lindsay Davis here with the details. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, George. It's taken 2 long years for this investigation police describe as being stymied by a massive cover-up. Now Dang's family describes feeling relief that those responsible for taking their son's life will be held responsible.
This morning, more than 36 college students face criminal charges ranging from hazing to homicide. 2 years after the death of this young fraternity pledge, 19-year-old Chun Michael Dang. Now a Pennsylvania grand jury recommending that 5 of those fraternity members face charges of third-degree murder.
They have to take responsibility for the death they caused and the cover-up that they created.
Authorities say in December of 2013, members of the Pi Delta Psi fraternity at New York City's Baruch College carried out what police called a brutal hazing ritual. Outside this rented home in the Poconos, pledges were forced to run across a frozen field, blindfolded, weighted down with backpacks filled with 30 pounds of sand, all while being assaulted.
He was singled out and he was treated harsher than the other pledges.
Police say after realizing Deng was unconscious, it took the students 2 hours before driving him to a hospital 45 minutes away. During that time, police say some of the students searched the internet for concussion, can't wake up, and pupils don't dilate. Authorities also say instead of calling police, students called the National Fraternity president, who told the group to hide all fraternity items.
That's part of why this investigation took so long. The police met with a lot of individuals who refused to cooperate, that they lied to the police, they tried to hide evidence.
A forensic pathologist saying the delay in treatment of 1 to 2 hours significantly contributed to the death of Mr. Deng.
When questioned by police why they didn't call 911, one student said someone looked it up and it cost too much. Deng's family is currently pursuing a wrongful death case against the fraternity. An attorney for one of the defendants told us overnight, quote, "What happened is a tragedy, but this is not a murder case." And George, the arraignment is scheduled for tomorrow.
Just a sad and horrible story. Okay, Lindsay, thanks very much.
Hazing has been a part of Greek life for over 2,000 years, and now they've been normalized as an induction into becoming a popular adult and have almost been forgotten by the public eye. The most common occurrences of hazing in a survey of 2,000 undergraduate students were in sleep deprivation and drinking excess amounts of alcohol because they were told to. It showed that hazing was in fact harmful, but they were neutral to their susceptibility to harm from hazing. When entering college at ages 17 to 19, it is still illegal to consume alcohol. That does not stop fraternities and sororities from hazing with the use of alcohol and forcing binge drinking upon pledges. Because of the alcohol present in the hazing induction process, there is less guilt involved and people feel less at fault while intoxicated, and their moral boundaries stretch more than they would while sober. Being intoxicated also makes the members' awareness lessen, making them more susceptible to forcing pledges to overdrink, making them puke, black out, and get alcohol poisoning, and even possibly die. All of these consequences are thrown out the window when hazing occurs, and in a study done of multiple fraternities when overdrinking occurs, members feel that they did not cause it and that they nor their president are at fault. Social loafing comes into play when the president makes actions and decisions and the members of the fraternity or sorority follow along blindly, allowing themselves to become part of the mob, and then cognitive dissonance occurs.
Thank you. That is the longest freaking script.
Alcohol is a very dangerous substance, and while intoxicated, most people forget the consequences of binge drinking. Large quantities of alcohol can kill by suppressing brain functions. Some consequences include passing out and choking on your own vomit and then dying. A person can pass out and suffocate on a pillow or another substance. And lastly, a person can pass out and flat out die from extreme alcohol consumption. Other consequences include memory loss, which could lead to possible pregnancies from forgotten sexual encounters which were not consented to, because, if intoxicated, the consent is not legal. Different studies have shown that different sororities and fraternities and the intensity of hazing done have had different impacts on self-esteem. While Greek life has a lasting effect on both genders, a study found that females are at higher risk for higher levels of contingent self-esteem and greater concerns about their weight. Although males reported a greater drive for masculinity, this shows that women who are being hazed are getting messages that they are too fat or are being bullied based on looks and are relying on the group mentality of Greek life to give them self-confidence. This need for group mentality carries on past college when some men and women are older and still rely on being in a group to feel like they fit in.